Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Zoomtopia sessions. Thank you for tuning in, and we're super excited that you could join us. Let's get started. The goal of this presentation is to help you understand the different touch points we have between Zoom and Google's suite of products, which have now been rebranded to Google Workspace. And at the end of this, we want you to take away the best practices for using both Zoom and Google together in your organization. My name is Abhishek Balaji, and I'm a product manager here at Zoom. And for this session, I'm being joined by Devin Dorset, a solution engineer at Zoom. And together, we will guide you through this presentation.
Now, to start off, let's rewind back and understand how we got to where we are today. By listening to your feedback, we gradually built out the Zoom for Google set of integrations. Let's take a look at what that means. You told us that you wanted one unified communication client in the form of Zoom for supporting your meeting, chat, and voice needs. And you wanted to leverage Google for the productivity needs like email, calendaring, and file storage interactions. Now, this meant you needed Zoom to blend with the tools that you had, making it easy to deploy and drive adoption of Zoom within your organization. You also said that within the Google G Suite products, you rely on a variety of them. And oftentimes, you even expand beyond their basic G Suite tools into products like Chrome OS and YouTube. And because you have standardized on these products from Google, you helped us understand the different workflows within your business. Now, this last one is my favorite because you asked us, how can I best communicate the value proposition of Zoom to my leaders and create this best of breed approach in my organization? Now, all of this got us thinking about how can we better serve your needs. And the end result is the Zoom for Google set of integrations. You can think of this like building a house. You might source things from different vendors, but at the end of the day, it comes together as one place for you to live in. Now, by leveraging our integrations with Calendar, Gmail, Drive, Chrome OS, Hangouts Chat, YouTube, and many more in the future, you truly can bring the best of communication and productivity right to your business. And as we go through the presentation, we'll look at how these integrations can be set up and used, therefore enjoying the benefits of a best of breed approach. So imagine it is day one of you looking at Zoom and Google and figuring out how do you bring these two products into your organization. And your goal is to set up this experience so that the business can roll out Zoom and make it work seamlessly with all your Google products. Where do you start? What do you do? Well, your first step in deploying Zoom should be user provisioning with SAML mapping. Zoom is a pre-integrated SAML app in G Suite. And what that means is you can leverage this connector to automatically manage giving a Zoom license to your users. So as you go from hundreds to thousands of employees, this helps you scale and drive adoption faster. Now, this same connector can also be used for automatic deprovisioning. So when employees leave, you can revoke the license at scale as well. So following this, we recommend you configure single sign-on or SSO right away. Now, why is SSO important? Because the same login flow can now be used for different applications. And this gives you A, a streamlined experience for your employees, and B, it helps you maintain a high security and compliance posture. So this is leveraging the familiar sign-in with Google tool that your employees are already familiar with. And if you have any other IDPs like Okta or Ping, you can federate that to your G Suite as well and set it up here. Setting up SSO is very, very important for helping drive the user adoption of Zoom. Now, once you've provisioned a license and you're done with SSO, you can now start to set up integrations. And there's multiple ways that you can do this. Let's talk about a few of them. The first is to go to the Google App Marketplace and download our Calendar and Gmail add-ons. These are our two most popular scheduling integrations. The Calendar add-on allows you to schedule a Zoom meeting from the calendar and invite other attendees to it. And your Gmail add-on allows you to schedule a Zoom meeting and add that to an email that you're composing. In addition to this, you can also go to the browser extension store for Safari, Chrome, and Firefox. And you can install our Google extension for scheduling. Now, later in the presentation, Devin will walk you through what is the difference between the browser extension as well as the Google Calendar add-on. Now, on top of this, you can also go to Zoom's own marketplace and look for third-party integrations that suit your needs. And keep watching that space because we're constantly adding new apps to that area. You can also leverage other sources like Zapier and look for, again, third-party built connectors that might very well fit your need. And later in this presentation, we'll take a look at what these experiences look like. But for now, you can understand that by going to these various marketplaces, you can install the right integrations to set your organization up for success. Now, once the integrations are installed, you can now bring your focus to the Zoom environment and figure out how you can enable calendar sync with the right permissions. Calendar sync is essentially a tool that allows you to sync your Google Calendar meetings back to Zoom so that one consistent view exists across the different products. Now, this will show both Zoom and non-Zoom meetings so that you can get a complete view of your schedule. Our new Google Calendar add-on integration gives you the ability for you to be granular in permissions. So you can now specify read and write permissions for calendar and contacts. And what's even better is that you can lock these settings to make sure users only give access to those permissions when they sign in with Google and sync their calendar. This further can adhere to any of your security needs that your organization has. Now, once you've set up the calendar sync with the right permissions, you can now start to add the Zoom rooms as a resource. So any Zoom rooms that you may have purchased or other conference rooms, you can set them up as a calendar resource object in Google. Now, our pro tip here is to figure out what are the details about the room that are important to leverage back out to the user. What features does the room have? Does it have a projector? Does it have a whiteboard? Where is the room? What's the name of the room? So by adding these details, it'll be helpful for users as they search for the room and understand more about it in the calendar. Now, once you set up this integration, it's easy to now enable the single click to join experience from the conference room for your entire company. So the experience you're talking about here is users can walk right in, click a button, and join right into the meeting. As simple as that. And there it is. With just a very few easy and simple steps, you're now ready to start deploying Zoom in your organization and driving the adoption amongst your users. Devin will now walk us through what the experience looks like from an end user perspective, based on all the setup that you have done as an administrator.
Thanks, Abhishek. It was great to hear about the admin level configuration details for the Zoom and G Suite integration. At this point, I'd like to talk about the end user experience with G Suite and Zoom. As Abhishek mentioned earlier, we know that the Zoom G Suite integration allows users within an organization or standalone the ability to easily schedule, join, and manage your Zoom meetings via the Google Calendar and Gmail applications. Based on the admin level setup, information presented earlier from Abhishek, let's imagine that your organization has already installed and allowed the Zoom and G Suite integration, or that you have installed the Zoom and G Suite integration for your personal Google account. The first time that you attempt to utilize Zoom within Google Calendar or Gmail, you'll click on the Zoom icon and it will ask you to sign in to your Google Incorporated account. This example is utilizing a customer's company email address that is associated with a configured SSO and authentication method. Once you have authenticated through this procedure, you will then be able to proceed to scheduling, joining, managing your Zoom meetings, all within Google Calendar and Gmail. Once authenticated and calendars are synced at the user level, here we show where the user's Google Calendar and Zoom application are synced together to show the meeting calendar for the day. We also show appointments on Zoom that do not have Zoom meetings associated to them. For example, see the lunchtime and open office hours set here that do not include a Zoom meeting? This gives you the flexibility of seeing your entire schedule from within the Zoom application when needed. Next, we're going to talk about the two available methods for scheduling Zoom meetings and webinars through the Zoom Chrome browser extension and the Zoom Calendar add-on for Gmail. I'll begin by prefacing this next slide by saying that the user in this scenario has opened a time on their Google Calendar and they're planning to schedule an upcoming Zoom meeting via the browser extension. Here we can see that the user has scheduled a Zoom meeting, a topic and time. They've added the participants and the guests that they want to allow into the meeting, and they're giving the guests the ability to invite others as they see fit. Clicking on the Make It a Zoom Meeting button within the Google Calendar event, we can see the scheduled meeting options appear. Quick note, this setting is disabled by default normally for the user, which means that Zoom will normally pull the previously scheduled meeting options for any upcoming meeting scheduled unless this setting has been enabled on the Zoom extension. In order to enable this, click the tiny Zoom icon next to the address bar and then choose Allow me to specify scheduling options for each time I schedule a meeting. This will then display these options every time you click Make It a Zoom Meeting on a given calendar event. Once you hit the on scheduling options and all the details have been applied to a given meeting, you can see that the Zoom meeting information within the body of the event scheduled on the calendar. For this slide, we show what the Zoom meeting calendar add-on looks like. In this example, the user has scheduled a calendar event has the Zoom calendar add-on running on the side tab of the application. This allows the user to add a Zoom meeting into the calendar event and also displays the meeting scheduling options. You can also adjust default meeting settings from this as well, which will take you into the Zoom profile settings page on your user account via the browser. Once the said changes are made, these will reflect on any newly scheduled meetings using this application. Here we have an example of utilizing Zoom with the Gmail application. Using Gmail with Zoom allows you to schedule or start meetings based on the specifics of the email you are currently looking at. This provides a quick and easy way to continue looking at the current email and schedule or start sessions based on the topic and sender of that specific email. We can see here that the participants we are inviting are the sender of the initial email, in this case support@zoom.us, and we're wanting to include another participant at the Zoomtopia@zoom.us address. Once the meeting has been created, the meeting details will be emailed to the sender of the email that you're reviewing and creating the Zoom meeting for. Keep in mind that the meeting join URL details will be included on the outgoing email, but you won't include a calendar invitation. You can generate a calendar invitation by editing a meeting on the Google Calendar within a browser or by signing into the Zoom web portal to access your scheduled meeting and edit from there. When scheduling from the Google Calendar, ensure that you're signing into the Google Calendar app and selecting the plus sign and choosing the Add Video Conferencing option and selecting Zoom Meeting Calendar. Google Calendar will then add a Zoom meeting to your meeting details. When scheduling a meeting from Gmail, click on the email you want to schedule a meeting for and then choose the Zoom logo from the bottom panel, which will include a Zoom meeting based on the subject line of the email and also include the sender for the Zoom meeting. As with the previous slide, calendar invites do not get generated with these types of meeting invitations. Meeting join URL links, however, will be included. For this slide, we're looking at Google Hangouts and the Zoom Meetings chatbot. This integration allows you to start an instant meeting or join a scheduled meeting all using bot commands. This integration can be added from the Zoom Marketplace site, marketplace.zoom.us, and enabled on a per-user level configuration, so long as the admin has allowed for Marketplace app integration. To use this after the integration has been enabled, simply click Message a Bot and search for Zoom and message the bot. ZoomBot will then greet you and reply back to authorize and configure the bot settings. Once this is done, you can type help and display all the possible commands for the bot. This includes starting instant meetings with specified topics, joining meetings, meeting ID required, obviously, and logging out of the Zoom bot Google Hangouts integration in case you need to deauthorize the Zoom and Google chatbot integration. Moving on to an in-meeting feature, here we have the share screen window within the Zoom client, and notice how it is on the Files section at the top. This section includes one option to share files that are directly saved on your Google Drive, which gives you the flexibility for accessing your shared Google Drive files within a Zoom meeting. As long as your admin has enabled file sharing, specifically the Google Drive option, an in-meeting file transfer is enabled for the current meeting and will have access to share files from your Google Drive in meetings as well as the Zoom chat. When a calendar resource on G Suite has been assigned by the admin to a specific Zoom room, joining Zoom meetings with one click is possible. On this slide, you can see the previously scheduled meetings for the day show for a given Zoom room. These meetings can be scheduled by anyone in your organization that have been given permission to schedule Zoom meetings in that specific Zoom room. Another great feature is being able to broadcast Zoom meetings and webinars to YouTube Live. When clicking on the More option at the bottom Zoom meeting bar, you can click on the Stream to YouTube Live option. When you do this, you'll be asked to authenticate into your YouTube account. Once authenticated, you will be redirected to the screen where you will see the option to edit the meeting title for YouTube and also the privacy settings on the YouTube stream. Also, a quick note, the YouTube stream will be approximately 20 seconds behind the content being shared in the Zoom meeting. As you may or may not know, Zoom on Chrome OS plays an important role in many classrooms today across the world. Students and teachers are able to quickly jump into a meeting to continue their education. More importantly than ever, we're working with Google for future enhancements around the Zoom experience on Chrome OS. With Chromebooks in use today by so many of our students out there, it's critical work to continue to support and advance these integrations. Back over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Devin, for walking us through all that. Now, what we have gone through in this session is using Zoom along with the rest of Google products. And you have come to understand how we can go about creating the single home for your organization to live in. And we talked about what you can do as an administrator and as an end user to instill the best user experience across your organization. With Google Calendar, Gmail, Google Drive, Chrome OS, Hangouts chat, and YouTube integrations, we're just getting started in building these seamless workflows between Zoom and Google environments. This best-of-breed approach allows you to bring the easy-to-use, scalable, extensible, secure, and innovative communication platform in Zoom to your familiar productivity suite in Google, and thereby creating a truly best-of-breed approach. Now, on behalf of myself, Abhishek, and my partner in crime, Devin, we thank you for listening to our presentation and hope you enjoy the rest of Zoomtopia.